Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Daffy here once again, and I'm from the Muxy Toys, obviously. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our next episode of our video game collection video series. So, yeah, last time that, my dear, lovely girlfriend, Twilight Sparkle, that she did manage to tackle through every single Wii games we actually obtained from, ever since joining, 2007 through, later on, ever since 10 years ago, actually. So today, for this episode, we're about to actually go through perhaps the most least amount of sales department for Nintendo console, Nintendo Wii U. Yes, this is actually the sequel to the actual Nintendo Wii, but except it calls it the Wii U. So anyway, for this particular machine, this was actually first released in 2012, even though it did firstly announce it back in during E3 2011, but then it did actually rebrought that again in E3 2012 for the new selection of games they did announce. So, anyway, as far as the Nintendo Wii U is concerned, it did first launched back in June in November the 18th in 2012 in North America, and then 30th of November 2012 in UK, and finally the 8th of December in 2012 for Japan. So, yeah, as far as this particular machine is concerned, that, unfortunately though, unlike how it does it in the Nintendo Wii, that did manage to sell for, I would say, probably 100 or so million units sold from, but I'm pretty sure this particular console sold about a lesser amount compared to how it does it for Nintendo Wii. I believe it only did sell about for 13.56 million units as far as the March 2017 is concerned from the 31st. Because I say that because of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did manage to came on that month. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it does have a pretty solid run through, like it did usually first sell it for 2012 and then just managed to go through 5 years' time until 2017, that the machine itself is now discontinued. Which I felt kind of sad for, because Nintendo Wii U was actually a pretty good system as far as in that particular time. Sure, it does have some issues, like for instance the lack of third-party supportive games, and also the online interface was actually a little bit more passable for this for the most part. And finally, the gamepad usage for on the go is actually not even communicating properly, even when you go further away from the actual system itself. But until when it gets to the point, and since now the Nintendo Switch has now been released, that means the Nintendo Switch will actually kick the likes out of the Nintendo Wii U's life at the moment. So, yeah, despite that, it's actually a pretty good system as far as that's been concerned. That what makes this particular system is so cool is the fact that when someone else is watching a TV show and stuff like that, you can still play the Nintendo Wii U games on the actual gamepad, which I think is really, really cool. Although there are some exceptions though, mind you, like we'll get into those later on. So yeah, as far as worth mentioning, that it's actually a pretty cool looking system as far as in that particular time, even though despite that it's actually a pretty short life as far as this particular system itself actually is. So yeah, enough about this little jibby jabber. So yeah, let's go ahead and just take ourselves our consoles to the side, specifically the actual system itself and the actual Wii U gamepad. So even then, we're not going to be here for actually just to discuss on the system itself. Now, before we actually get started with the games that we actually got, this is going to be our third attempt on this recording session because the first attempt we did done, our batteries on our iPhone is gone pretty crappy right now. And secondly, that we did try to demonstrate it as a waterproof camera, the 720p one, and the quality itself is even much more blurry, and as a result, you can't actually see the box arts very well. So, anyways, enough of this little nitpickings about this, let's get to the actual games themselves. Now, unlike Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS, and even Nintendo 3DS as a result, we actually got quite a lot of games on that particular for those three systems, mainly Nintendo Wii most likely, because it's, 60 plus games and all that particular, etc. But this time it's going to be quite a bit of a short video, even though it might be a little bit of a talk heavy. But even then though, as far as the games that we did manage to get, we only got quite a little amount of them. So even then though, that we actually got quite a few Wii U games, because there are some games that I'm particularly not a huge fan of, like Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. Oh god, I can't stand that game. But even then though, I'm not going to mention on this video anyway, because that game sucks anyway. So, yeah, sorry for keep you waiting, folks, for this particular introduction on this video, because obviously it's gone about almost 5 minutes or so. So let's get on to the actual collection then. So, yeah, I apologize for this little notification kept popping up. But anyway, first up, we have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. You guys should probably can clear at this point for this particular game, because I believe Brown Teddy did manage to done this game already from the start, so even then, you can probably check that out for that Let's Play. I think the only point I actually got into at this point is actually the final level, the true final level of the game, which I think is by far the hardest part about this game to me, because even though that's it's not that big of a deal, but even though that we just trying to speak through that, because obviously you've already done that Let's Play not too long ago. Next, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, or if I like to call it Donkey Kong Country 5, because this is actually the 5th installment of the Donkey Kong Country series. As far as this game in particular, this feels it's more likely exactly the same thing as from Donkey Kong Country Returns, except you do have Dixie Kong and Cranky Kong. Even though Dixie Kong was actually the already playable character ever since Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, but the new one in the lineup is actually Cranky Kong, which makes it more sense to me. So as far as in this game in particular, the only point I actually got into is actually the final main world of the game, Donkey Kong Island. But even though there's only 1 or 2 exceptions, mind you, that the only point I actually stuck on at the moment is actually grinding a hell of a lot more Kong letters and even jigsaw puzzle pieces, which, sure enough, that can be a lot of quest heavy though, as far as I'm concerned with that. But I digress, still looks pretty good game even to this day, but I need to get back onto it one day. But even then though, I might actually just decide to do a Let's Play on that at some point. But even though, not now though. Next, Hyrule Warriors. Now, of all the Wii U games I've actually did manage to play, or the other 2 which we'll get into later, I actually played this game a least amount of time. I don't know why I haven't touched this game for quite some time now. I think it's clearly because I was still practically on the Zelda marathon that I was going to be tackling through. Like, recently I've managed to completely done with The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Then the next set of Zelda games I might tackle through is The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages, and even Ocarina of Time for Nintendo 64. So yeah, that's the only 2 Zelda games I might tackle through next. But even though, as far as in this game in particular, it's more accurately the Dynasty Warriors, but within the Legend of Zelda theme. So, as far as this concept goes, it's actually pretty alright. But even though I haven't exactly gone back into this game yet, probably because there are some games that I need to complete first. And then once I complete most of those Zelda games, most notably all of them, well, until Breath of the Wild anyway, until I decide to go for that, that means I might actually decide to go back to this game eventually. So, the only point I actually got into is actually complete the first level, and that's it. But even then, I can probably guarantee that I was still busy on the Zelda marathon on my own time. Speaking of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, which is essentially the remake, or in this case, a reported to the both Nintendo GameCube and the Wii version of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The only major improvements on the Wii U version, or in this case the newest edition on the Wii U version as opposed to the Wii version and the GameCube version, is that obviously it has the exclusive cave of shadows that you can actually just manage to tackle through while scanning for this Wolf Link amiibo specifically. And as far as this particular version is concerned, it's more likely exactly the same version as from the GameCube version, whilst the Wii version is completely flipped. So even though they decided to actually make it a little bit more original version as far as the GameCube version than this version has. So even then, I might decide to go for this particular game, but not until I get to the point until I decide to actually go through Ocarina of Time for the N64 first. But from what I've heard, it's actually a pretty cool looking version. And there's also another Zelda game that's usually also a remake, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. In this case, the Wii U version of the GameCube installment of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. So, as you can see there, I actually got myself the Nintendo Selects version, which, well, it might be alright and stuff, but I just hate the fact that the red banners kept on covering up the actual box art itself, which I might be, it's sort of hard to tell, even though it's only because I was so used to the actual box arts themselves, basically, the regular cases and all that stuff. So, anyway, as far as this particular game is concerned, much like Twilight Princess HD, they did actually include some of the Wii U features like, obviously, Miiverse. Oh yeah, one thing I haven't mentioned is that in Twilight Princess HD, it does actually support in Miiverse, but you can actually collect stamps. So even then though, that'll be pretty noticeable in some of these Wii U titles, but I'll get into those later. So anyway, so you can actually just use the Wii U gamepad to control your Wii U gamepad's controls and all that stuff, as well as the touchscreen support and all that. I think this is easily, without doubt, the definitive version of Wind Waker, because as far as I've heard from any reviews on this particular game, that they did manage to fix the Triforce Assurance questing, because unlike the GameCube version, it's gone really tedious. But even then, as far as I heard, the Wii U version's actually improved a lot more better than the likes of the GameCube version as far as the Triforce Assurance are concerned. But hey, this is another Zelda game I'd love to actually tackle through in our own time, or even for my own time as far as that's been concerned. Next are the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, which there are currently only 2 of them, just like how it does in the 3DS installment, and somehow it only gets like 3 of them in the Wii version, but this is what we got for the Wii U. Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, long-ass title match, and Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Now, between these two, these are the most least popular. Okay, quicker right there, because, you know, our iPhone's battery just killed itself. So anyways, of all these 2 Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, I think those 2 probably is the least popular of them. Probably because for this, it's pretty lacking with motion controls, and this game here is pretty much lacking when it comes to everything. Like, you know, we'll get into those until just a second. So, of all these 2 games I do prefer on the Wii U, I actually kind of prefer this a little bit more than this. Although, to be fair, the only thing I give Rio 2016 credit for is to actually add in newcomers to the mix, which I think is kind of cool. But the only downside though is that you can't actually pick the newcomers in all these events, which I found kind of sucky. But as far as the this particular installment here, that the only way you can actually play this game, which you might find it interesting, is the online mode, which I think is kind of cool. I think this is the only Mario and Sonic game you can actually play online with. But not so much for this game, because for some strange reason they refused to do that. So yeah, between these 2 games, I felt kind of mixed bag with these 2. Because for one thing is that I've usually enjoyed most of the Sochi 2014, more so to Rio 2016. But I still really think that those 2 are pretty much mixed bag. But for the least favorites of them, I might as well go for Rio 2016 most likely. Because the newcomers is great and all, but playing with them in some of these events are pretty lackluster. But at least I kind of give this game credit for to actually add in online mode. Sorry, Mario and Sonic at Rio 2016, I did enjoy you at first, but as far as later on, that felt like the Sochi 2014 is definitely the better of the 2. Well, at least most of them anyway. Well, I don't mind those 2 pretty much, because they're still a lot of fun, but Rio 2016 is just sorry for the lack of dialogue here, folks, I really do apologize. But I still really think that the Rio 2016 is pretty much underwhelming. But anyway, Mario Kart 8. Now, if you're probably thinking that what happens if we get ourselves Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that's only because we're actually trying to get that with the Nintendo Switch itself, alongside with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So yeah, this feels more likely a slightly mix between a combination of Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 7, because obviously there's some of these features are still present from Mario Kart 7, and the new feature is by going through these little ceilings and all that stuff without any little sort of limits. And you know, I enjoy this, you know, pretty good so far. I don't usually play this version that much anymore, but I'm still hoping for the Switch version. Mario Party 10. Now, of all the Mario Party games they actually been released in every single consoles, this is the only Mario Party game to be released on that system. Unlike it does in the N64, it only has like only 3 of them. The GameCube version only has like 4. The Wii only has 2, and also same goes to the 3DS as well. And between the Game Boy Advance and DS, this is the only Mario Party game to be released on the console department for the Wii U. So, yeah, as far as in this game is particular, it's alright. I mean, it's not one of the best Mario Parties. I mean, the replay value for this particular point is pretty lacking. While I do usually found the Bowser Party to be twice as enjoyable, well, for those 2, I felt entirely mixed on Mario Party mode. And as for the Amiibo Party, it sucks, because it's more likely the bare bones version of the Mario Parties you know and love. But still, 17 minigames are still present here, which I think is much more pleasant than the other Mario Party games. But even then, that of all the Mario Party games on the consoles treatment, this one is the weakest of the bunch. Probably because of there's not much anything else to be new from this point. And please, Nintendo, please bring up online mode. Even for more alternatively, if I like to say so for myself, please remake this game on the Switch. Because if you like to call Mario Party 10 Deluxe, I would be really hoping for it. And I was really hoping to actually add a lot more content to this. Even though I don't know why I truly say that, but even then, yeah. Oh yeah, one other thing before I actually continue is that between Mario Party 10 and Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, these two games have only the Pikmin 7 on there, which I'm not sure why. But anyway. Next, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Oh boy, this game right here. I just really think this is the weakest Mario Party, no, what did I say Mario Party? The weakest Mario Tennis game that's ever been in existence. I mean, sure, it looks exactly identical to Mario Tennis Open on the 3DS. I mean, I found that game to be quite alright, I have to be honest with you. But this game, not so much. Because for one, tournament mode is removed, and also the lack of court selection. It's pretty much basic and bare bones as you can get. The only difference between these courts here is the different skin color, but that's all there is to it. But you're still actually able to actually play through online mode, which I found is kind of alright. But everything else, ugh. But even then, I think this is the only Wii U game that we haven't touched upon at all. And even the other games as well, which I'll get into in a second and a little later. But Mario Tennis Ultra Smash definitely is the weakest Mario Tennis game. Go play something else. Mario Power Tennis, Mario Tennis for the N64, and even Mario Tennis Open for the 3DS. And even Mario Sports Superstars on the 3DS as well. Even though it might actually think of the same thing, but I digress. Next, New Super Mario Bros. U. If I like to call this Super Mario Bros. 8, because New Super Mario Bros. I call it Super Mario Bros. 5, the Wii version, Super Mario Bros. 6, the 3DS installments, Super Mario Bros. 7, and now we're going to be calling this Super Mario Bros. 8, because new is not exactly a new game anymore, because it's usually 5 years old at that time. So as far as the New Super Mario Bros. U, or Super Mario Bros. 8, if you like to will, this is easily, without doubt, the greatest New Super Mario Bros. Game that ever been released. And this is more predictably the first time ever since Super Mario 64 and Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. This is actually the first ever proper Mario game to actually be launched as a launch lineup for this particular Wii U. And this is easily the first ever Wii U game I've actually purchased, even back during Christmas 2012 at that time. So as far as this particular game is concerned, you guys should probably already know about this because we did an LP of it. And similar to the likes of Mario Party 10 and Mario and Sonic at the Sashi 2014, Rio 2016, etc, etc. Nintendo Land, and this is also the launch title for the Wii U. I don't normally play this too much, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think it's probably because I was so used to playing Wii Sports most of the time. But usually this particular game is a combination of 12 different mini-games you could be playing through. Like some of them are multiplayer based, like the team aspect, cooperative, and even solo gameplay aspects, which, well, I do like most of those mini-games. There's only one mini-game I despise the most, and it's probably Octopus Dance, because it's pretty soulless for the most part. But as far as everything else, it's pretty great for the looks of it though, but I definitely need to come back to this, because as far as I can tell, that this game is a whole lot more fun. But even then, I haven't got this with the black Wii U for some reason, because I just got myself the white Wii U, obviously. So even then, this game's usually bundled in with the black Wii U. So even then, though, if you're having a hard time trying to find yourselves a used copy of the black Wii U and Nintendo Land, go ahead and good luck with that, because even then, it gets really expensive from now on. So definitely worth it. Alright, this is actually a third attempt on that particular recording session, or even then the third jump cut right there. So I digress. Next up, Paper Mario Color Splash. Now, interesting fact about this is actually the 5th installment of the Paper Mario series, not counting Mario & Luigi Paper Jam Brothers on Nintendo 3DS. But even still, that's more likely more doubted. So anyway, I haven't exactly touched upon this game that much compared to the other Paper Mario games. I mean, the only point I actually go into is actually I was trying to finish up the first world in the game. And that's all there is to say. So, from what I've heard, not bad actually. But even though it's not entirely the best Paper Mario games out there, but even then I still prefer the Thousand Year Door because the Thousand Year Door is actually the best Paper Mario games to ever be released upon. Next up, Pikmin 3. Now you guys should probably clearly know about this game, so because me and Sonic are almost entirely finished up with this game, so even though we can hopefully commentate more on that. Next, Rayman Legends. Yes, we haven't exactly pointed that out for the Rayman game ever since the 3DS game collection, so yeah, Rayman Legends is actually a pretty awesome game, even for the Nintendo Wii U version of the game. And surprisingly enough though, they're getting Nintendo Switch version on this game eventually. I think they'll try to release that on the 12th of September. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying that version out, if there's anything possibilities or what have you. Yeah, not much to say. Sonic and AllStars Racing Transformed Special Edition, which contains Metal Sonic and the Outbay track already from the start. So yeah, not much to say about this version, honestly, although I kind of prefer this version over a bit more than the 3DS version was. But although, admittedly though, is that you can see that there are some Wii U exclusives, like the Monkey Ball and Shinobi's modes, and the Wii U gamepad acts as a map and all that kinds of stuff, and finally play as your Mii. So even then though, that you can also play as your Mii in the 3DS version. But even then though, I actually really enjoyed this particular game, even though I haven't exactly touched upon this game since back in June in 2013. But I digress. Sonic Lost World Deadly 6th Edition. So, as far as in this game in particular, I kind of prefer this version over a bit more than the 3DS version, is that for one, levels don't seem to drag on, although it does have some trial and error annoyances are still present here. But even then, I don't find it that much intrusive this time around, because thanks to the patch they ever be released, that just makes the game even much more steady as far as difficulty curve is concerned. But yeah, you guys should know about this, because I think someone else did also done a Let's Play of this. Next, Splatoon. Yes, Splatoon. And it's a good thing that I managed to get this game, is because, thankfully, 11 days left until Splatoon 2 is about to come on Nintendo Switch. So even then though, that I'm hoping we can actually get ourselves this particular game a chance while doing a Let's Play of it until when Splatoon 2 is about to come. And I was so excited until Splatoon 2 was about to be released on the Nintendo Switch, even though I was going to be hopefully trying to get it because, you know, maybe curious to try it. Next up, Star Fox Zero, the only Star Fox game that hasn't been gone pretty well at this point for this particular installment. I mean, the classic is obviously Light Wars, aka Star Fox 64, was always a classic game. But this is another Wii U game I haven't exactly touched upon yet. That's probably because I need to actually wait for it until when I actually just to either play it, or even just, you know, just to be curious to try it. But even then, as far as I've heard, they actually did add in yet another game being released on the Star Fox department on the Wii U. It was actually called Star Fox Guard, which is basically more likely a strategy game or something. So, but even then, I need to be really fast because I'm really worried about my battery died again already. Super Mario 3D World! Yahoo! Meow! Now, for those of you probably wondering, yes, I believe Sonic and Sylvester are still doing this Let's Play at the moment, but obviously they can't do it right now because of other Let's Plays they need to finish. So yeah, definitely get back onto this, but don't worry. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Next, Super Mario Maker. This is the Mario game that usually celebrates for the 30th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Game for quite some time, since 1985, and I believe this came out in 2015. And yes, this game also re-releasing it on the 3DS version, known as Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS. But even though I kind of prefer the Wii U version a bit more than the 3DS version because they actually add in some content on the Wii U version while the 3DS version doesn't. But even then though, I might be curious to actually just to see that. But even then though, I really love the yellow case on this because it's something's a little bit similar to New Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Maker for the 3DS, and Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. Because those three games also has the case like this. Now, I believe Wind Waker also has that as well, but I found it's really rare to find. But anyways, pretty enjoyable for this game, but I need to get back onto it at one point. Maybe I will let you guys know in the comment section below that we can actually do a Let's Play on Super Mario Maker eventually. But I don't know for sure. Okay, fourth jump card right there, I really do apologize for that. So anyways, next up, Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Wii U. this is easily the best Super Smash Bros. Game ever made, which I can't describe that, which, for one thing, more noticeable characters right there, most notably the newcomers introduced, and also there's actually quite a lot of replay value, like customizable fighters and everything else. I believe every single part of this game is basically the equivalent version of Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS, except the noticeable difference was though, however, though, is that they actually add in 8 players, which is not exactly the first ever Nintendo game that's actually featured 8-player mode as far as multiplayer wise. That honor goes to Mario Party 7. And possibly Mario Kart DS for the Nintendo DS systems. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this, you know, pretty awesome even to this day. I need to get back onto that game, however, though, because even then, until next year, I might decide to tackle for that game as from next year, for that little delay. Next, Wii Party U. Can't much to say about this game. It's basically a party game with Mii's on it. I haven't exactly played this too much, to be honest with you, because I usually played Wii Party all the time, because even then, the minigames of Wii Party was super awesome. But even then, I haven't exactly touched upon this game at all, probably because of the fact that I played Wii Party originals too much. But even then, I might as well give this a little bit of a chance here. And finally, Yoshi's Woolly World. And this particular game also has a reproduction version of Yoshi's Woolly World called Portian Yoshi's Woolly World. So, yeah, as far as the progression on the Wii U version of Yoshi's Woolly World, I'm actually on the second world right now, even though I haven't exactly touched upon this version at all. But even then, I've recently completed the 3DS version out of the way. But even then, as far as I've heard, the next Yoshi game should be announced on Nintendo Switch. But even then, I'm really excited for that. So even then, I can't wait to do that Let's Play as well until sometime in the future. But hey, this is pretty cool and cutesy looking. So, yeah, that's it, folks. That's all 24 of those Wii U games we've got. Even though, again, it's not much by comparison, so even then, I really need to end this episode off, because, you know, our batteries kept draining a lot. So, join the other toys next time on Let's Play, on the, what do I say Let's Play for? The video game collection videos, that next up, we're going to be jumping into the, Sony, no wait, there's actually one more Nintendo system we're going to discuss upon. Oh yes, the latest, and one and only, Nintendo Switch. So even then though, unfortunately though, the video game collection videos every nowadays will have to go a little bit of a more longer to delay this, because Nintendo Switch is going to be 3 months away until when I decide to get that console, thankfully. But even though I just need to take a lot of more time in order to actually get the Nintendo Switch itself. And then hopefully we can actually get into the Nintendo Switch collection video. So with that being said, I'm Daffy here from the Maxi Toys, and until then, bye!